Thank you so much for staying with TV47. My name is Tracy Mokami, and this is In Other News, the first day of the month of June, a day where many Kenyans are anxiously waiting on the president's speech tomorrow. Apparently, we are expecting a removal of cessation of movement order, another opportunity for humor and satire as we bring you the news. Besides the news, we have Emmanuel Nonda on set right now.
Hi, Tracy.
Yeah, good to see you.
What's up?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's our show, Tujibambe, yes?
Okay.
And Francis Ode is going to be joining us in a few minutes. I hope we will be able to have him on this show tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
And Emmanuel, you have seen Kenyans online just being excited by the fact that hopefully tomorrow we might be getting a lift of the cessation of movement order. And this is what the president has to say on this.
The nationwide dusk to dawn curfew shall be extended for a further containment period.
Emmanuel.
You know, the first thing I'll do, I don't think it will be different from whatever I'm doing right now. Since the lockdown didn't affect me that much, like that particular person who is in that club. You know, most of the people who wants the country to be open tomorrow, ni wale watu those who take bitter something.
Really?
Yeah. So,
are you calling us a drinking nation, Emmanuel?
To some extent, yes. Because when you've seen so many ministers of finance, when they read their budget, even if they increase liquor, you'll never find a bar empty. So what does that mean? Huh?
Well, I feel like there's some people who really have concerns about the cessation of movement, and we will be looking forward to know what you think, Emmanuel, at TV47 TV47 Kenya on Facebook. You can also call us live. Tell us what is the first thing that you're going to do if the country is reopened tomorrow. Yes, Emmanuel, you were saying?
I was saying personally, I'll be among those people who will be. So you see, traveling to Shago is one of the best things ever. So our people have been locked down in Nairobi, and soon we'll start seeing the counties from Western region flock people from Nairobi. Yeah. Yeah.
And Francis Ode is here with us. Hi, Ode.
Hi.
Good to see you. What is the first thing that you're going to do if the president opens the country tomorrow?
For me, I mean, because I'm all round, because you know my profession allows me to do that, to go around. But again, friends have been locked kabisa, and most of my friends lazima waende Dunda. So I'm wondering.
All right, okay.
Talk of Dunda. So Ode is just trying to hide whatever he's going to do, saying he's all around. But I think he just said it loud and clear.
Yeah.
So Ode is Dunda.
Well, I really hope for whatever reason that you are really wishing that we reopen, we will actually get our freedom back. I feel like a lot of people have been. If your freedom is curtailed there, you feel like, even if you do not use it, you feel like you're really oppressed. Now, let's talk about lessons from COVID-19. Yesterday in his address, Health CS Mutahi said that we are learning and have learned lessons on dealing with this pandemic. Ode, what are some of the lessons you've learned from this pandemic?
The first lesson is that Kenya is not well prepared when it comes to matters education. The second thing is our health system is crumbling, and it's not. We really don't have a steady health system. And finally, our internet users are really on. So when it comes to matters breaking news online, so I think online is the way to go when it comes to anything, when it comes to matters information.
And when you speak, Ode, of the fact that schools are not as prepared for online learning and all these approaches, I feel like most of the students are actually rejoicing being at home. The parents and other adults who are the ones who are feeling this pinch. Emmanuel, what have you learned from this pandemic?
No, even the parents. Parents are happy to be home. Some, those who are employed on government, they are on government payroll. Some are happy to be home.
Why?
Because you see, most people, do you know why? You remember sometimes years back, the government came out and said, okay, we're going to give out performance contract to the teachers and all other government workers. Because these people are lazing around. You find someone has gone to the office, just 2 minutes, then the 2 hours for lunch, 2 hours for breakfast, 2 hours for dinner, then he goes home. So the pandemic has taught us that we are all humans, and it tried to reset us to default settings, whereby there was no higher class or lower class. It was going through everyone. And let's have respect to nature, because you see, when we went indoors, we started seeing animals come out to the beaches. We saw in the beaches in the Europe, there are animals who are the sharks, the whatever, they came out, meaning we had invaded their space.
Yeah.
So
all right, I feel like these parents you speak of, Emmanuel, are just afraid to pay school fees, But my biggest lesson has been that masks are only put on when we approach the police. What other things, Ode, have you seen that Kenyans are doing only for this?
Lessons.
Mutahi lessons, concerning COVID-19.
The other day I was in some caught the mask chini yake. So he was asked, kwa nini haujavaa mask, kwa hivyo tunakukamata tukupeleke quarantine. The guy said even Mutahi Kagwe himself doesn't know if corona is still here or not.
Well, I feel like it truly is a Kenyan thing to wear the mask on your chin. And another lesson is sanitizers are the only thing that actually works. Soap and water, apparently, people feel are the ghetto. Emmanuel, sanitize every minute. Why not just wash with soap and water?
Sanitize was just a way of doing business. There's someone who makes those sanitizers, but there's no one who makes water. So they knew, if we do the water way, but remember, it's not a must that you use a soap. But if you are of order, the friction that you use to wash your hands is what matters. Because you can use the soap, but the virus is not going away. So the sanitizers was just a way of making money.
All right.
Because it was the sanitizer of the word that was marketed a lot. Unlike washing. Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. So coronapreneurs are thriving during this season.
They have thrived.
Yeah. I also have seen instances in the Western world where nurses wore transparent protective equipment without in bikini wear, apparently because they were using the season in this country was a hot season, and the fact that they
polythene, you see, they cannot fall down. So you too, yourself.
Ode, have you seen the social distancing shoes that people have invented during this period, where there is an extension of about 1 meter on the front of your shoe, just to ensure when you're facing someone else, they have no option than to keep 1 meter? I feel like the pandemic has taught us that human beings are very creative minds. Have you seen any other creative ways that people are coming out to beat this pandemic?
With me, the shoe, actually, I'm wondering kama anaweza inua like hapo kwa vidole, if he can really.
All right, okay. I think Ode, we've lost him for a minute, yeah?
Maybe
All
publicity stunt.
Okay, Emmanuel.
So I thought,
All right, I think we will fix that connection with Ode.
Ode
But
maybe wants to go for Dunda. Yeah, mentioned it earlier on.
maybe he's prepping, yeah? All right, now the government has also announced that we are set to start home-based care since 80% of our cases are actually asymptomatic. Emmanuel, how do you visualize this working? How viable is it?
You know, first of all, the government told us it has enough capacity to hold those patients when it gave a projection of 10,000 cases by the end of April. So I'm assuming right now we are just 2,000 cases, not 20,000, not 200,000, just 2,000 cases. And you're saying our facilities are full, so let's start having home-based care, whereby you'll isolate yourself in a room and stay there until you recover. So my question is, assuming you stay in one room, you have like 5 people staying inside there. How will you isolate yourself?
I feel
The
like
thing is,
some of these measures, Emmanuel, might work for the Western world. But in Kenya, Ode, how practical is it to have home-based care for COVID-19 patients, if even in these isolation centers, we have seen that people do not have the discipline required to quarantine and isolate properly?
okay, in Kenya, so far, 60% of Kenyan population live under $1. And this population probably, let me take an example of a slum like Kibera, Mkuru, Kwanjenga, or even Madare, where a family of 7 stays in a single room that they have wameshindwa kulipa rent for 1,500 shillings. So let me take that example when it comes to now home-based care, when it comes to matters COVID-19. 7 people in a single room, Mabati room, with a COVID-19 patient. I mean, it can't work.
I feel like
this only works.
I feel like the fact that we have not been able to trace some of the patients who have tested positive, the government may actually lose track of people who are COVID-19 positive. And I hope that this solution that we've put forward will actually work. They have laid out some of the modalities, how this is going to be implemented. It will be curious to look in the next few days just to try and understand how home-based care is going to work for COVID-19 patients.
So, Tracy, let me ask you, is the government going to door to door now to confirm how many people are tested and they are staying home well, safe? So I think what it should tell us that this virus is not a death sentence. It's not like a bullet, a gun. It will kill you instantly. Some chances of killing you are few. You just have to cope with it, then you recover.
Yeah?
You see, what we did, we copied what the Western world did. We were looking at the numbers from Italy, 700 a day, 400 a day, then America, then England, then Spain. So we started copying what they are doing.
Yeah.
But I think we should have run.
I feel like when Mutahi says we have learned our lessons, let's pray and hope that we have actually learned how to Africanize and find Kenyan solutions. Now, for anyone who is looking forward to getting married this year, COVID-19 has changed how weddings are conducted completely. We have seen couples wear masks to their wedding. Ode, I don't know, how do you kiss the bride with the mask on? And even before we move to that, I'm told we have a caller on the line. In other news is here for you. TV47, hello. Yeah, good to have you here. Thank you for calling. What are your contributions to our topics tonight?
My name is Jeffo. Now, there's something this was saying about 2,000 who infected, and now it's like they want to do this open care. Looking at the number of people who were covered and the who are dead, probably 1,500 if you check well.
Yes.
Now, comparing these numbers, we want to use home-based care. Where's the money they are giving to take care of it? Now they want home-based care. This thing is not making sense. The government is clear. These people are joking in Kenya.
Well, I actually agree with you, and I hope we will be seeing more vigilance from the government. And more transparent. I think we spoke about this, Emmanuel, earlier. The fact that the government needs to lay bare plans so that Kenyans are not worried and do not question every move. Yeah, Ode. Now tell us how would you kiss the bride? With your mask on?
I mean, they're blocking the best moment. I mean, how would you kiss a bride with a mask on? I'm trying to, and then wameharibia sana watu wa kuunda lipstick market. You know, it is bad. You can't kiss anyone when it comes to matters COVID-19. Based on the guidelines that have been put by the government or Ministry of Health. I mean, it's a 1 meter rule. So there's no way you can kiss. But I think I'm trying to ask myself, okay, wakisha shikanishwa, and then they are told now go home. Is the social distancing still, does it apply?
Well, Emmanuel, now this brings us to the fact that weddings have become...
They pretend in church and then back at home they finish the process.
All right, okay. Emmanuel, I am wondering, do we appreciate now the fact that weddings have become extremely low cost? First of all, you do not have a crowd to feed at your wedding. Do you feel like the cost of weddings is a good thing? It's a good thing that the cost of weddings has actually come down.
I think for the people who have not wedded yet, it's a good thing for them. But you see, maybe you need just to send them some data, internet, so that they can follow your wedding. We saw some other two guys who did wedding in the ceremony had less than 50 people, less than 20 actually. So you see the economy also, since people are social distancing, they're not going to work. Now it's easier to afford a wedding, unlike before, it could be the other way around. So I think the pressure is going down.
Emmanuel, is the fact that you can still get your gifts via M-Pesa anyway. It's just now the people will not be there to to celebrate with you.
Exactly.
Now I am wondering why no one is offended by the fact that you will not actually get invites. You remember there is this culture that if you have relatives you haven't spoken to in years, you're still required to invite them to your wedding. At least that's the culture here in Africa. Ode, it's a sigh of relief for couples. No one has to be offended by the fact that they were not invited to anyone's wedding.
Actually, to me, it's an advantage because most, especially where I come from, utaletewa vikombe za mabati mingi. So, to me, I think it's the best way to do things. And then if you're not invited, you're invited virtually or, I mean, through internet, so you can follow Chalazma, you know, if you're invited or not, you can still follow the proceeding online. Free of charge, and hakuna mtu atakwambia you are not supposed to be here kwa sababu chakula itakuwa kidogo.
But Ode, if you are seen online, you are among the people who are online, then it means you have to also send a gift.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, because if you're online anyway...
I mean, no one is forcing you. I mean, no one is forcing you to send anything online because you're following online. But if unajua kuna kitu inaitwa committee, my friend, that is one of the
committees.
Let me ask you a question, Ode. Have you been to church before, right? You've been to church before?
Yes.
Yeah, there's this time ikifika saa sadaka, the pastor will give so many verses regarding the same until unapeleka fare yako as the sadaka. So the same will happen with the wedding, the time for presents. How will you avoid that?
Well, I feel like with the pandemic, it will be really unfair to expect people to chip in. And it's a good thing now committees will be a thing of the past. But I'm really feeling bad for parents who really want to attend their children's wedding. Because now their role has become completely diminished, yeah? If your parent is far away, people are only allowed, I think it's 4 people now who are allowed at wedding ceremonies. So you have the couple and their witnesses and that's it. I feel like a lot of parents are suffering. Ode?
With me, naona walegeze kidogo hapo mahali pa wazazi because I mean I've seen so many parents crying when walking down the aisle, their ladies or to go get married. I've seen the emotional aspect of it. I would love to see it more and more, because I mean, a parent amekaa miaka yote akikulisha, akikupea maadili mema, and then all of a sudden during the very day that they're supposed to give you to someone else, they are not there to actually witness that function.
And not just to witness all day, not just to witness. Some parents might be shocked that their children got married without their knowledge, because what is stopping them anyway right now? And people are really coping differently.
The
most parents are not
virtual
online.
marriage that is happening right now. Utasikia kwamba mama anapigiwa simu anamwambia we are 2 years in marriage. I mean, ulikuwa wapi mama?
Well, I really hope parents, you will come to terms with what has now become the new normal. And people are reacting differently to this whole pandemic. I have seen pictures online of guest photos on empty church pews. I don't know what is this important that we attach to crowds at a wedding. Emmanuel, I know you've had a wedding. I don't know if that is information I should be putting on it. But what is...
No, it's public.
Yeah, it's public knowledge, yeah?
Yes, yes.
I am wondering, what is with having a crowd at your wedding that you would feel that maybe you're missing out on something?
You know, a crowd at a wedding, I think should exist, because it's something you are doing it. Maybe you've wanted to do it for a longer time. And, you know, most people do weddings not for themselves, but for other people to see it. So when you remove the crowd, when you remove the crowd from that particular wedding, then this person who wanted a show off will feel less of the wedding, maybe to reduce the chances of doing the wedding.
Yeah, and when it reduces this show off, Emmanuel, it's actually makes it now cheaper and easier for everyone else to have weddings without competitions. And now
I like the aspect of no crowds. Because I mean, imagine someone who didn't have money to do that flashy wedding like Inonda, as I attended. Yeah, Inonda ilikuwa flashy sana.
Oh, okay,
So imagine,
all right.
Imagine that person who doesn't have money. He only have probably, let's say, like 100,000, and he wants to do a wedding, and there's another one who has 2 million to do the same wedding with the same day. Na ring ile moja. So to me, I feel when it comes to crowd, right now it's more advantageous because more people will do weddings. And like wakati kuna watu wengi, so he will be in a situation catch 22, because chakula atashughulikia watu wa ushago, na transport kama ni wedding yake. Baada ya wedding there is life. We've seen so many people take loans for wedding.
Absolutely, Emmanuel.
Why Ode is not preferring a crowd. He's gone into so many bushes, but Ode doesn't like the crowd because of just one particular question the priest always ask.
Which one?
Nani anapinga?
And Emmanuel, we are now moving it a notch higher, and marriages might become officiated online. Couples can now apply for marriage licenses online. Now, this is a good thing, but it might turn out hazardous in many ways. Before you get married, an announcement is made to ensure that you're single. I don't know if this is going to be made on social media platforms. Yeah, Ode, if your picture is put out on social media, will there be people who are claiming you? Who?
This time round. They put it on social media. that whoever let's say like Emmanuel and you are going to wed. Now tunaweka kwa social media people, nani anapinga?
Well, I don't know, your potential husband or wife, your potential spouse might actually be someone else's bait. This is an effective way of weeding out cheating in relationships, yeah? Now, my question is, what happens if internet connectivity becomes a challenge during this marriage, Emmanuel?
You see, first of all, the online online marriage, it's not something new. We've had so many people are watching us. They got married through online before the corona came. You've heard the Facebook, people met Facebook, others met on Twitter. So the marriages have been there. So this one, the only challenge...
But marriages have been there long ago. Naonaga mtu akiingia pale kwa Facebook, you try and start a new account, inakwambia in a relationship complicated or engaged.
What have you put in that box?
Emmanuel Ode, before we continue, Sase Frederick is watching us live, and on Facebook he says, kindly let Inonda stand on one leg live on camera. Ode, if you do not wed during this pandemic, kindly usitusumbue na WhatsApp group. I will buy the bride and the bridegroom mask for your wedding.
I know what's disturbing Sasia. You know, it's from United Umoja.
Emmanuel, even before we go to what Sasia is saying, we have a caller on the line. TV47, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, thank you for joining our discussion tonight. Your thoughts, please.
I wanted just to add something on the marriage part,
All right.
on the media part. Maybe you just had broken up with a chick, maybe in somewhere like UK, and then your marriage is on the stage, maybe on the media side. So you just see her just saying that she's with you because you've broken up with her. So things will just not go normal. They just end up losing the other one that you're married. Because maybe the fact that the relationship that you had with her got broken up. So she's just carrying that anger inside her. So putting on the media is not a good idea.
Yeah? Really?
So,
All right, okay, thank you for calling. Remember, you can call us. The numbers are right on the bottom of your screen. Be part of this conversation. Ode, Sasia Frederick has told you must get married before the pandemic ends.
Okay, funny. One thing I must say to our viewer, Sasia, is when it comes to matters marriage, people might take advantage of marriage, but I remember my grandfather and my daddy told me that it is one of the biggest institutions that you should never joke with. So for me, I will not do a virtual marriage. I'll go for the real thing.
Well, it's real. It's real, Ode. You have your marriage certificate. What is more real? You have your bride at home. What is more real than that, though?
For me, there's no touch, you know.
Really?
I want to do something that is tangible. Ambayo watu wakienda nyumbani wanasema yenyewe.
Look at you. You're part of show. You're competing with Emmanuel here.
Let me give you an example. If you do a wedding that everyone witnessed live, it becomes stronger during your marriage life, because wakati unapiga hesabu ya kutoka, you remember there is a wedding you did in front of everyone. Now tell me about virtual marriage.
Well,
kama watu wanadampiwa na SMS.
Well, I hope we shall be seeing a scenario where even divorces are conducted online, yeah? Yeah, all right.
For me, I don't think it's viable to do such a wedding right now. Just wait. Have that wait. Kuwa na uzito.
Well, I feel like
I asked you a question, you didn't respond. When you open Facebook account, then it asks you, are you married, single? What did you put?
Single.
Well, I feel like, Emmanuel, this is a whole conversation we cannot exhaust. Now to Tanzania, where the President, John Pombe Magufuli, has come out to mock the looming food shortage in Kenya. Here's what he had to say about this.
Shida ya chakula ni kwa sababu waliji lockdown wakati sisi tukiwa tunashughulika kulima. Sasa tutunze vyakula vyetu, na kama tunaamua kuuza, tuuze kwa bei ya juu sana. Watwangeni kweli, nasema watwangeni sana.
Who hurt this man though? This bile is too much. Inanda, who hurt this man?
You know, Pombe always has his issues with Kenya. And I don't know why he dislikes us, because everything, you remember vifaranga vile zilichomwa Tanzania, our cows, when they cross the border, they are sold, ABCD. So then this issue of the food, I don't know if Tanzania is that is ahead in terms of agriculture, where it can produce a lot of food that can feed Kenya, even on what price. I think he's misled. We can get our food from Mexico. We have our port.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
We've always gotten our food from. I don't know where our brokers get our food from.
He should tone down and continue testing his pawpaws and pineapples COVID-19, because now this is too much.
Ode, your thoughts on this one?
Magufuli is a very wise man.
Really?
Yes. I mean, no president, which president will stand confidently telling people that there is no corona? Which president? And then something else, lisemwalo lipo kama lipo njiani laja, manake, this guy has done his research. He has medical people who advise him. He has intelligence. He has people on the ground tells him about anything that happens. I mean, our president gets intel from all over. So whenever he comes to address us during his address, he has enough information from the ground. For Magufuli, for me, I still kidogo kuna kaukweli fulani. Because
right.
If at all, I mean, right now, let's say it as it is. As we speak right now, people are not farming. People are not buying from our farmers, but them, they have that supply. Wanasema tufungulieni uchumi kabisa, tuwalime kabisa.
The reason why here in Kenya farming is slow, we've been invaded the locusts just a few months ago.
What do you mean, Emmanuel? Did the locusts not go to Tanzania? Did the locusts not consume Tanzanian
That's
food?
why you don't have enough food. You know, we've had food shortage before COVID-19. So what? Yes, Ode, what are you saying?
That's a blanket excuse, sir. I must say,
we've had food shortage before COVID.
There is Ministry of the Agricultural Ministry work on strategies on how to cushion our public, our Kenyan people when it comes to upungufu wa anything, when it comes to matters food. But again, remember, 2018, 2019, 1.3 million people were suffering from food shortage.
All right.
But right now ask yourself, right now there is COVID, hakuna mazao yote ambayo inaendelea. How many millions of people are suffering?
Well, I feel like Ode, the fact that even if Tanzania does not sell their food to us, we will not go hungry. We will find a way.
Hungry, yeah.
And Simlango, you say you tuned in from the United States of America. Thank you for keeping us company. Honorina Mrema, you tuned in from South Sea. Jack Onyango, you're watching from Kisumu. Lawrence Wambua, you say you're new here. I don't know how you're finding this. Kindly call in live. Tell us, are you enjoying our show tonight? Praxids Juma, you say you're watching us live from Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much. Remember, all your comments on our Facebook pages, Twitter handle, and on our SMS platform as well. We will be able to sample some of those. Now, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will have more news besides the news for you.
Religious leaders promise to observe COVID-19 containment measures if the government decides to reopen places of worship. Plus, graffiti artists in Kibra immortalize victims of COVID-19 through murals that are gaining immense traction from the public. And tonight we tell you the story of a man who's beating the odds stacked against him to mobilize the public about COVID-19 containment measures.
Thank you so much for staying with in other news. My name is Tracy Mukami, and we are sampling some of your feedback right now. We'll be going through some of your comments as we continue with the show. Now, Interior PS Karanja Kibicho has disclosed the new reforms being made in the National Police Service with plans to raise entry grades for recruitment of police officers. The PS says this exercise is targeting over 5,000 university graduates in the first phase of recruitment. Emmanuel, do you think this will have an effect on our police service in Kenya?
It will have an effect. It will have an effect whereby, you see, there are those people who go to school, then when they find things are hard, wanasema hata nikianguka, nitaenda to police. And that's what happens. So when you increase the grades, it means these people will lack jobs, because those people who don't work hard at school, they lack jobs, so they'll have to continue being jobless down there. So I think the joblessness, yeah.
All right, okay. Ode, do you think this will have an effect on the quality of our police service in Kenya?
Have an effect. We'll have more educated police officers in the service. We will have people who will think when it comes to matters of security. But again, I'm thinking of the 10,000 young people who graduate every year in these universities who are not going to get a spot in the recruitment. Every year we are getting 10,000 graduates every year. Like let's say your end wanna graduate to 10,000, KU 10,000. Multimedia here 10,000. Our colleges, people are graduating. Where are they going to be accommodated? When it comes
I feel like this is not a matter of education, really. The fact that it needs to be a calling. Yeah, I feel like being a police officer is the same as being a teacher. It must come from inside. I don't know how having better grades at recruitment is going to help this.
Exactly, because you know, even the heads of this police, the IG, their heads, the spokesman. You see, when a rogue police officer does something wrong, commits a crime, kills live on TV, live on camera, I mean, then everyone sees it. The spokesman will come out and say, we are investigating. We cannot confirm if that was our officer. Then the case it and if the pressure is too high, then the officer will be recalled. So, and remember, these people, the head are educated. So I don't think it's going to change the morality or the character of that particular police, but it should be a calling, just like I've said, not just a job like any other. Yes.
Well,
For me, think of the NYS regime, where after Form 4 you directly go to NYS, then from NYS your skills are tapped. Wanajua ni nani ako na calling ya kuingia army, nani ako na calling ya kuenda kuwa pastor, nani ako na calling ya kufanya masonry. So for me, I think if angebadilisha mkondo kidogo, all the graduate after Form 4 you go to NYS, then from NYS you're picked there to go to the army or to the police service. To me, that I think it could come in handy.
Well, before we go, I'm told we're running out of time. The showbiz industry has been relentless as many artists have been releasing new content despite the challenges brought about by COVID-19. Now, the latest releases by Sauti Sol, Steph Capella, Otile Brown, netizens have chosen to make light of Otile Brown, his album Art claiming he's too polished. Ode, do you go for pedicure, manicure, those things that make a man look so polished?
Okay, kila mtu ako na uhuru wa kufanya chochote ambacho he wants, but when it comes now to an African setup, we were not brought that way. I mean, we were not. I'm not saying it's bad to do it. I strongly respect people's orientations and how they do their own stuff. But when it comes to mambo ya pedicure na manicure and kupaka lipstick wakati unatoa video, kidogo.
I think what all this just confirming that he does pedicure, lip balm,
and
and all other stuff.
It's not a bad thing, Emmanuel. I feel
yes,
like...
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
I've not said, Emmanuel, I've not said that it is a bad thing. But based on our upbringing, our societal norms, and how we are brought up in an African way, a boy child and a girl child, there is a distinction. Those quizi nasema kwamba kuna mambo ya equality when it comes to sexuality. But again, on this, I will say I respect, but that is not the way we were brought up.
Well,
yes, just confirm for the second
Emmanuel,
time again.
I feel like there's no problem actually with men grooming. The biggest thing for me has been Mutahi Kagwe has put to shame many artists, and his rap has been the most viral, even more viral than his son's music, who is an actual real rapper. Look at the inequalities of life though. Emmanuel.
You see, when that remix came out, I was laughing at it because Kenyans have found that whatever we're going through, it's not that serious the way they expected it. So they need to make fun of it. You saw even the other day in quarantine facilities, those people are positive. They were dancing well with their doctors. So I think it's just a norm, just way of life in this pandemic, and let's just do it.
Well, I really hope that we will be getting to see more content from Kenyan artists. And we are actually out of time. Thank you so much for keeping us company. My name is Tracy Mokami. And tonight, something new premieres on TV47. Do not go anywhere. The editorial team is readying a power-packed show for you. See you Monday.
We value your feedback, welcome any comments, queries or complaints regarding our programming content. You can get in touch with us on 0768095491 or send us a message on 22047. You can also send us a letter on Post Office Box 235800.